Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Sarah, Bubba Hotep, of course, the Evil Dead series, Congo, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, the Hudsucker Proxy, my personal favorite, and an upcoming movie, The Man with the Screaming Brain, which he also directs. Of course, overviewing Bruce Campbell's filmography does little to describe his impact, spiritual impact on modern American cinema, and for that matter, humankind. So, and certainly the culture of Microsoft. So, it's a pleasure to welcome Bruce back to Microsoft, where, again, judging from these crowds, it's some type of a Bruce Campbell cultural epicenter, right here in Building 33. This time he's here to talk about his new book, Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way. So please join me in welcoming back to Microsoft, Bruce Campbell.
Oh my God, Mr. Gates. I just want to see who looks. It works every time. I want to start out by asking a simple question. What have you got against Dell? What? You what, Dell? You buy Dell? You own Dell? Okay. All right, just curious. I'm not going to read from this silly book, so we're going to hear from you today. So who wants to start by asking those burning questions of Evil Dead 4 or Ash versus Jason versus Freddy? We could just get those out of the way real quick if you want. But anyone who wants to just start the ball rolling, yes, sir. The makers of Duke Nukem, did they ever give me royalties? No, the bastards. I do appreciate their use of those lines, and they've sort of ripped everybody off, though. They're uni-rippers. And you know what's funny? They get really pissy if you bring it up. They did. I sent this. Some guy saw an email in an interview or something that I did, and a guy from Duke Nukem, one of the big shots over there, gave me this whole, we don't just rip off your lines. He admitted it. We use lines from all movies. It's like, wow, you're original, aren't you? So the answer is still no, though. No residuals from them. Okay, see you later. Thanks. Yes?
I have to ask about Alien Apocalypse.
Alien Apocalypse. What would you like to know about that excellent movie? Incidentally, before you go too much further, Sci-Fi Channel's #1 movie in the history of their network. That's how bad all their other movies were. Yeah. I'll tell you a quick genesis of that. I was in a Sci-Fi Channel movie. I just went up to Toronto, did it like any other movie, called Terminal Invasion. I call it interminable, but that's another story. They didn't really care for it. They just sort of dumped it on TV. It did surprisingly well, and they went, who's that guy? So I got a call the next day saying, well, what else have you got? I said, I got a movie that's been rotting on your shelf for 2 months there. Really? Yeah, it's called Man with a Screaming Brain. We like this project. So all of a sudden, after 19 years, we finally got the money to do Man with a Screaming Brain, which was a partnership between the Sci-Fi Channel and a German tax fund. That's how it was made. But they wanted to do 2 movies, back to back. They like this back-to-back thing now. Shoot everything back-to-back. So a friend of mine had a script at the Sci-Fi Channel 2, Alien Apocalypse, which was a youngster. It only had been taking him, I think, 15 years to get that thing made. So I called him up, and his name is Josh. I said, Josh, I got good news and bad news. Good news is we're going to make your movie. Bad news is you're going first, sucker. So he got to go first, and I got to sit back and watch how movies are made in Bulgaria. And it's made in Bulgaria not for the sake of the movie per se, but because the average Bulgarian makes $110 a month. About the same as all of you here. So that's why we wound up there. His movie takes place in Portland, however, but all of his actors are talking like this. Hey, buddy, what are you doing, man? It was absurd to the highest degree. They got the memo wrong about the hair and the beards for the movie. I think they put the wigs on the faces and the beards on their heads. I'm not sure. So all of his actors, other than the two Americans, me and Renee O'Connor, that brought over, had to be revoiced later, so that they all sound like this. Hello there. So that's why that movie's as retarded as it seems to be. Yeah. So I thought, I don't want to go through that. There's going to be no beards in my movie, no wigs in my movie, and I'm going to rewrite it for Bulgaria. Because it's such a strange country. The original story is set in East LA. And so I said to the Sci-Fi Channel, and who would be the Latinos? The gypsies? There are no people of color in the Eastern Bloc. So they relented and said, all right, but keep it as American as you can. I went, oh, okay. Since you guys care so much about America, you're shooting in frickin' Bulgaria. Because nothing looks normal there compared to what we see. The lettering it's the Cyrillic lettering. It's upside down and backwards. There's no Latin roots. There's no nothing. Gypsies are driving backwards up freeway entrance ramps. Packs of wild dogs are running around. Every morning, before we started shooting, I'd come to the production office, which is basically a bombed-out building. OSHA would shut the entire country down, by the way. And I'd whistle as loud as I could, and 6 dogs would come racing in from all over. I carried a big bag of dog food in my car as protection. And I'd pour a big pile out in the parking lot, and you wouldn't pet them because they'd take your hand off. And then they give you this look of like, you're lucky. And then they let me cross the street and go into the building. So that was Bulgaria. It's just a little bit different. Everything is translated, so you hope that what you're telling people is then translated to them. You know, it's. I hope that answers that question. That's why that movie is so lame. In the back.
Yeah, other than the Remington, which shotguns do you recommend?
Well, sir, I don't own a gun, so I couldn't answer that. I own 2, and I don't know how to use them. Smarty pants. Yeah, it's right here. How many scripts a year do I turn down? Meaning that you probably assume that I don't turn any down? You should see what I turn down. I have a son in college currently, so my criteria changes a little bit. It's a 4-year change of criteria. I turn down stuff with zombies in them. Zombies bore me now. They're bad adversaries. It's like there's a mummy in Bubba Hotep. But it makes sense because there's 2 old farts trying to stop the mummy. So they're all moving about this fast. Yes?
What was your favorite movie to do?
My favorite movie to do, it's a little bit dangerous with that question, because I have a theory that movies that are easy to make are hard to watch. So, yeah, like Terminal Invasion. I don't know. I like movies that are a challenge that aren't much fun to make because it does mean that the filmmakers are doing something. And I think audience members know that. I think they can tell the difference when they're being scammed, like this summer. I jotted down a few movies. Hollywood wants to know why. They're really perplexed. Why are we down for 18 straight weeks over the last year? 18 weeks in a row, they're making less money than a year ago. They're so perplexed. What's wrong with Bewitched? A show from the 60s. They have it's on my list. Why are we remaking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Johnny Depp's a weirdo, boys and girls. He's not funny. Welcome to the Chocolate Factory. I'd run if I was a kid. You're all going to see War of the Worlds. You're all going to see it. All of you. I'm not going to. Because it's an idea from 1898. Made for the first time in 1954. Every half century they do another one. They have another Herbie the Love Bug out. They've made so many of those, I've made a Herbie the Love Bug. And let's all race out to see Dukes of Hazzard. It's my childhood nightmare come true. Every crappy Aaron Spelling show from the 70s that I hated is now a $60 million movie. They make fun of B movies because they're cheap and cheesy and the hair and the beards look bad. I don't listen to them anymore because they're ripping you off. And you're not going to like this one. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. They got the audacity to call it Batman Begins? Again? They're on their fourth Batman. They don't care who wears the bat suit. They don't care who drives Herbie. They can always swap it out. Dean Jones, Bruce Campbell, Lindsay Lohan, whatever. The car will live on. Yes?
So what about Sky High?
What about Sky High? It wasn't made in the 60s that I'm aware of.
No, but a big blockbuster for this time alone?
Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
Any favorite actors in that movie? Or
I like Kurt Russell because he made his first Disney movie, I think, 40 years ago. It's amazing. I think it's okay. It's a total family movie. I mean, if you're looking for blood and gore, that's not the one to look for. It's like X-Men for kids, kind of. All right, I see the eyes light up. Yes?
That's a good question. There's another movie, Zoomers, that I think is getting sued by the people who made X-Men for...
Zoomers?
Did you get any legal trouble from the X-Men people basically saying that, hey, it's...
Did I get any legal trouble? An actor in a Disney movie? They don't even know I'm in the movie.
With the production, basically superheroes at a school, that's why
They don't tell actors anything, just so you know. They tell me when to show up on set, not whether they're having legal troubles or not. I'm sorry. Yes?
So what do you want to see in movies then?
I want to see movies that are original, movies you can't see on an airplane. How many bland, generic Steve Martin movies can you make? A lot, apparently. I think movies should be original, like Spider-Man. Which brings me to another point. The A movies are B movies. If you get bitten by a radioactive spider, that's a B movie. If you dress up like a bat and fly around the city, that's a B movie. And they're just spending a whole lot of money on them now. Yes?
Speaking of Spider-Man, when's Sam going to give you a major villain role?
When will Sam give me a major villain role? You're discounting the impact I've had on the first two movies. let's review. Without my character in the first movie, this big blockbuster series would be called The Human Spider. Think about it. Yeah, let it sink in. Yeah, it takes a minute. In the second film, I'm the only character who has ever defeated Spider-Man. Did he get into the movie theater or not? I don't think so. So, why would I want to play a villain that won't be able to defeat Spider-Man? Do you think the next villain, the Lizard or whoever the hell they get, you think he's going to be able to defeat Spider-Man? Not according to Sony. You can beat him up, you can maim him, wound him, but you're not going to defeat him. We got 3 more sequels to make. A friend of mine wrote The Rookie, Clint Eastwood movie, The Rookie. And in their original draft, Clint Eastwood died. And they went, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're not showing that to Clint because he's going to like that. Shoot him, maim him, have a dog bite him. We don't care. He's not dying. That's Hollywood for you. Yeah, and they wonder why their profits are down.
So what would you say the best movie you saw in the past 12 months?
The best movie I saw in the past 12 months? Napoleon Dynamite. Made by our Mormon friends. I thought it was clever and original, and unfortunately they'll probably do a sequel. Yes.
Are there any roles recently that you've looked at and gone, I could have done better than this hack?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't wait to be Darren in Bewitched. Wear that uncomfortable bat suit. Or be a hick driving, what's a dumb car? The Plymouth Duster? Yeah, oh boy, I'm missing out. I already did Herbie, I'm not missing anything there. If I did War of the Worlds, I'd have to jump around on Oprah's couch, so what's the point of that? No, I'm all right, thanks. Yeah.
What's your least favorite piece of Microsoft software and why?
I have another list. Jeez. He might be listening. I'm okay with Microsoft, because what would I do otherwise? I wouldn't use a computer otherwise. My brother works for Sun Microsystems. He hates you guys worse than anybody. Mike, I'm speaking at it's my brother Mike. I'm working, going to have a little chat at Microsoft. He goes, really? Why? But not at Sun Microsystems. I don't know. I wish I had my own IT person, though. Because I can't. You just got to make stuff. You got to make stuff for guys like me. I'm not reading anything. I'll buy your little product. I'll buy all your products because I have to buy all of your products. Yeah, laugh it up. Laugh it up. But I want to put it in my little drive and let it sail away on its own. Don't make me check up on my hard drive. I don't care about my hard drive. I just want to save the picture of my cat without any hassles. Buy a Mac. Those are too clunky and weird. Whatever. I don't want to think about technology. Make it so I don't have to do anything ever. I don't have to take care of my computer. I don't have to defrag the hard drive. Why should I have to do that? Oh, it's 69% done. Oh, man. And then nothing's different. Nothing's different when I turn it on. That thing should fly away when I'm done. They should cook breakfast for me when I defrag it. Trying to get me started here. Yes, right here.
So what's your starting salary for the IT guy?
Starting salary for the IT guy? I can't afford you bastards. No way. Yes.
I'm just a contractor, and my contract's up next month.
All right, let's drop the IT thing. Because I'm sure you'll be improving your software so that it'll be very easy to use. Yes, in the back.
What parts did you not get that you were really looking forward to?
What parts did I not get that I was really looking forward to? The only time I attempted to be a phony movie star was for this movie, The Phantom, that died 1,000 deaths. So I'm like, yeah, I didn't get that one. I didn't get the X-Files replacement role. Big deal. You know, they shoot at night all the time. I did one episode and was like glad I didn't get it. Because, man, they were crazy, crazy hours. As crazy as your hours, I'm sure, yeah.
What's going on with The Community Speaks?
What's going on with The Community Speaks? It's a documentary about land use that my wife and I are doing. When I have the time to work on it, I don't have the money to work on it. And when I don't have the time, I have the money. So it's a strange conundrum. We filmed it. We shot 55 hours worth of footage because I know these issues are really hotbed in Northern California, Oregon, where I live, and the state of Washington, about what do you do with our public land? So we decided not to take any position whatsoever, and we went in completely ignorant. And as a result, it allowed us good access to just about everybody. So we really have all sides of the coin, and it put me much more on the fence about issues because they're much more complicated. Fire, you just take one issue and you can argue for hours about it. Should we let forests burn or should we not let them burn? Problem is, if you let them burn now, they're so overgrown for 75 years of fire suppression. That's why these forest fires are so bad now. They've missed 5 and 6 natural fire cycles. So you have to get in there manually and take out the smaller stuff, but that doesn't pay the bills of the timber industry. So you got to retool how they make wood products. You know, you could have a plant that would burn fuels, wood fuels, that would run for hundreds of years just on the overgrowth from the forest and accomplish everything everybody needs and supply powers to cities. But you have to get the right hand to talk to the left hand, and the environmentalists are too busy suing the crap out of the agencies and everybody else. And I understand why, but what they don't realize is that by stopping everything, you're not really improving forest health. You know, I'm a fan of managing from the bottom up instead of the top down. So.
Sounds like a pretty important film to be made.
Well, you know, it affects me. The Bureau of Land Management is working on 3 sides of my property right now in Oregon. I got to talk to those guys. I talk to them all the time. The best thing is, though, they have these things called scoping comments. I don't know if you've ever heard this term. When the government is going to do work on public lands, they let everybody know what their plans are, and then the public gets 90 days to give what they call scoping comments, which is, don't cut anything, no new roads, no heli logging, you know, or whatever. Whatever your bitch and gripes are, you get it out. And then they sort it through and ignore you and do their thing. I made a movie for my scoping comments, and it scared the living crap out of these guys because they realized that technology had arrived in these rural areas. Before, you know, the only people who live out where I live are ranchers and loggers, and they're like, yeah, come on in and do whatever, it doesn't matter, ain't nobody back here. Well, now there's lots of people back there who have like wireless technology and cameras and digital. And so I took their maps and scanned them and zoomed in on it, said, here's my property. Wow, you know, and I did this whole thing. It freaked them out so bad, they showed it to 70 employees the next day and said, this is what's happening out there now. I mean, they can't hide anymore. And I was being completely rational. I was just, you know, and then I would cut to where they were showing when they were going to propose some work. And I'd go show them what they were talking about. You know, in one case I said, we have big trees here or dead trees. What's left to take? Why are we punishing the big trees that have survived the beetle infestation? You know, and they backed off. Not because of me or any association with that. The point is, I took them to where they were thinking of going, and I showed them visually, you know, I showed them the proximity of the property lines between my house and where they want to do stuff. I said, this is where I live right here, guys. What do you want to do right here? Are you out of your gourd? So it worked out, and they actually compromised. But the sides have to talk to each other. That's what I've learned. They have to, and they hate each other. Environmentalists hate and distrust all government agencies, and the cliches are still there. You know, these dope-smoking hippies over here, and, you know, these bureaucratic knuckle-draggers over here. And there's a little truth to both of those. But they gotta talk. Anyway, but I digress. Yes?
Have you been approached for any voice work other than video games? Because you might actually be able to save a DreamWorks feature.
I find it interesting that they're just hiring phony movie stars to do the voices now. It's not can they do a good voice. Cameron Diaz has a very ugly voice. Hey, how are you? I love you. I'm like, wow. But they went, but it's Cameron Diaz. Well, her voice sucks. I agree. For those of you that are interested in audio things, there's the audio version of Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way coming out. That's a 6-hour unabridged radio play with sound effects and characters and everything like that. So our tagline is, you've read the book, now hear the movie. So that's coming out. Because I found that folks out there now who like particular types of entertainment don't like the regular stuff. They want an hour and a half of the movie and 7 hours of DVD extras. So you got to give them more stuff, so we are. Yeah.
So is there anything you want to say to us about movie copying?
Yeah, movie copying sucks. It's wrong. It's illegal. We should do everything we can to stop it. I have no problem if someone, sure, download it, but pay to download it. How hard can it be? So, yeah, piracy is horrible. It's awful. And there are entire massive countries of a billion people that don't understand that and aren't interested in that. They're like, we like it how it is just fine. We saw Star Wars. We like Star Wars. We didn't pay for Star Wars. And some people, look, if you can download a George Lucas movie with all that technology and all I'm sure he has all kinds of security bells and whistles, and just like trying to get into one of the doors here. That if he's having problems, then we have a problem. It is. Intellectual rights, I think, should be protected. I mean, because the filmmaker busts their butt to try and do something, they own it. They should be able to own it. And, you know, people can pay for it, yeah.
Do you think that part of the problem might be in the movie industry and overpricing things?
The part of the movie industry and overpricing things? Well, their movies are too expensive to make. I mean, they can't make a low-budget movie to save their life. They really didn't. They wouldn't know. Blair Witch is the best example of a non-Hollywood movie. $60,000 movie made with a handy cam. Arguably, it's a headache movie for sure, from start to finish. I wanted to send them a tripod for Christmas. But that thing's the most successful movie of all time. It's not Titanic. Titanic had to make $1 billion to break even. It cost them $200 million to make that movie. I love it. Oh my God, they hit an iceberg. Well, yeah, that's a plot twist. I didn't see that one coming. Oh, they're sinking. God. My favorite thing in that, with that speaking, because as you guys are all involved in digital technology, you know, technology in general, I loved how they were kind of early on in the digital people. My favorite thing, I became bored with the movie in about 10 minutes, so I just started looking for digital things everywhere. They got there's a sequence of the ship is cracked in half and stuntmen are falling all over. It's just right around the part where the guy falls and hits the propeller blade, which is kind of cool. They put a little sound effect to that too. It's really funny. But they had a person at a ladder, and they just kept recycling it. So they were climbing the ladder, but they weren't going anywhere. It's like, wow. So it's funny, technology has not made movies any cheaper for some weird reason. You'd think it would, but yeah.
In terms of filmmaking and digital and the cheap factor, your movie, Needless to Be, is obviously not a cheap movie. You're saying that you kind of run out of funding.
No, it's just my own money. So, you know, no, that's not that, believe me, that's not that expensive. But I just, you know, I don't have the dough to finish it. Yeah.
So iTunes has been kind of a new distribution for music.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is, in the near future, another distribution for movies besides theater?
There should be a new distribution system for movies, because then it'll level the playing field. Then a guy from Butt Crack, Kansas can make a movie and get it into the pipeline. Because I think everything should kind of work like Netflix, which is the greatest invention ever. Especially if you live in rural Oregon like I do. There's the movies in the order that you want them in your damn mailbox. I don't go anywhere. It comes to me with a return envelope. Put that back in there, away it goes. I should have a massive list. When you're on satellite, I don't care if they have 1,000 channels. There's still only 30 choices of movies on any given time. Or, okay, 100, big deal. I want 10,000 choices. I want to go, where's that obscure weirdo movie from 1967, you know? I want to be able to find all of that stuff. And then you can have whole sections of films that you would never know about, new filmmakers, and let people decide for themselves. And it doesn't cost these people anything to distribute it. If they just post it on some site, well, what does that cost? You're not shipping prints all around the world, you know. I've had a little bit of an experience with this new film, Man with a Screaming Brain. I mean, I've showed it on DVD a couple times in theaters so far. That wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. So that's kind of nice that I can tour with a little thing in my pocket instead of FedExing 2 things that could kill someone. You know, just the cost involved in that. So I hope it keeps evolving. People do like the group aspect, though, sometimes for entertainment. So I think that'll still be there, but we're cocooning more as a society. And our equipment is getting cooler and bigger and newer, and you know, the DVDs have sort of changed a lot too. That's a good format. You know, it's not like video where your tape stretches and, you know, it's a better way to go. I hope it gets better. Yeah.
Didn't Bubba Hotep have an interesting story of how it was distributed?
Well, Bubba Hotep, that film wasn't released, it escaped. You know, the word indie is very overused. If you have a release date when you're making your movie, that's not an indie. If you're going to Sundance to promote something that already has a distribution deal, you're lying. It's not an indie. If it's got Nick Nolte and Julia Roberts, it's not an indie. So Bubba Hotep was a case where it was the filmmaker who put up the money. No one would distribute this redemptive Elvis mummy picture. Must have been the cancer on his penis that turned people off. I don't know. Never bothered me, personally. And what he did was he was able to get a major distributor, MGM, eventually, to do the DVD, because it's like a bank loan. The only way you can get a loan from a bank is to prove that you don't need their money. And then they go, okay, you can have the money, because you don't need it. It's like that with the distributor. We proved to MGM by going theater to theater, and thank God for chains like Landmark, who own these alternative houses, these interesting, old, cool, smelly, smoke-filled theaters with sticky floors. But I love every last one of them because of what they represent. They represent an alternative outlet for independent filmmakers. So we toured enough and got the movie shown in enough theaters that they eventually picked it up for distribution because they realized we didn't need them. And then they wanted us. And then they made a lot of money, actually. Yeah.
Do you think Hollywood is becoming too dependent on special effects?
Are they too dependent on special effects? Yeah, because special effects are the story. Ask someone about the movie The Mummy. What's the movie about? A mummy. How was it? Cool special effects. I like it a little more the Forrest Gump approach, where you don't really know, you don't see the effects as much. You're using effects to help you tell a story that would be very difficult without special effects. There are people in this country who think that Gary Sinise, the actor, has no legs because of how cleverly they did that. It didn't scream special effects like that George Lucas, what his name, that movie out this. Yeah, anyway, yeah. So yeah, they rely way too heavily. I think they should use it as a tool. It's not the thing, but younger audiences are much more accepting of just having effects. Yeah.
What did you think of Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow?
Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, I thought Gwyneth Paltrow was annoying and I wanted to hit her with a sock full of manure. She was terrible. She won an Academy Award. Didn't she? No, not for that. No, in general. No, of course not for that. But what does Hollywood know? They gave Kim Basinger an Academy Award because she didn't suck for once. You know I'm right. Yes. Have I seen Shaun of the Dead? Have not seen Shaun of the Dead. You gotta see that movie. Okay. I'll Netflix it. Yeah. Yes. How did I come up with the idea for my new book? Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way. It was a chance to tell very strange stories about Hollywood that 80% of which are true in the book. And I just changed the name to protect the guilty, basically. And that's why. And put myself in there because I knew I wouldn't sue myself. Yeah.
Has anybody who's been protected in the book known it was them and got pissed off?
Has anyone who's mentioned in the book, or I mean, what about the real characters though? Richard Gere's in there. I get in a fist fight with him in his apartment.
So what? It's Richard Gere.
So what? It's Richard Gere. Richard Gere has lawyers, you know.
Don't you?
Not as many as he does. All right, we'll do 3 more questions and then we'll sign some books. Yes, back there.
What's your favorite movie quote?
My favorite movie quote? How about my favorite movie? Bridge on the River Kwai. Because it was not written for 17-year-olds. William Holden is a manly man. He's my favorite actor because he could kick Ben Affleck's ass any day of the week. And because it has a thing called, what is it? Oh yeah, a score, not a soundtrack. So I like movies that are just meant to be movies. Yeah.
What's the status of the Evil Dead remake?
Evil Dead remake. We have to wait for Sam to stop making so much money right now. Because he's a little distracted at the moment. Yes.
Who'd you rather make love to, Xena, Gabrielle, or Joxer?
Xena, Gabrielle, or Joxer, who would I rather make love to? You know, this is your idea. Why don't you play with that fantasy a little bit? On that happy note of love, why don't we sign some books? I want to thank you for taking your time out of your bizarre and eclectic jobs and for showing up today. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.